When I first saw The Matrix back in 1999, I was completely blown away. I walked out of the theater thinking this might be one of the best science fiction action movies of all time. And 22 years after its debut, I think it's still in a battle with The Empire Strikes Back and Infinity War as my favorite science fiction action movie of all time. If you're a fan of this franchise like I am, you've just been given a big gift with a new trailer dropping recently, letting you know there's going to be a fourth installment to this franchise coming out for Christmas 2021. Let's return to The Matrix. Welcome back to Comic Power. I'm your host, Comic Killer 72. Welcome to another episode of The Quick Flip. This is the program where I go over comic book industry news in a short period of time. Please subscribe to this channel and click on the notification button as well. It will remind you when new videos drop. Alright, let's get right into it. If you're asking, why is a comic book channel talking about The Matrix, which is not comic book sourced? Well, it's because The Matrix is very comic booky. The franchise that is The Matrix is the brainchild of the Wachowski siblings, which are Lena, formerly known as Larry, and Lily, formerly known as Andy. And prior to The Matrix, Lena did do some comic book writing for Clive Barker's Hellraiser and other projects. And then there's Grant Morrison, who's a legend in the comic books industry, especially for his work with Superman and X-Men. He has accused the Wachowskis of plagiarism based on his work with a science fiction comic book series called The Invisibles, which ran from 1994 to 2000 that he wrote for Vertigo, a division of DC Comics. And there are some similarities. In The Invisibles, there's a group of alien gods that are subjugating humans through a illusion. And a group of radical humans are trying to break free. They have a messiah character. It has this cyberpunk feel and look to it. Of course, The Matrix does have a similar idea of the human race being controlled by illusion. The only difference is in Grant Morrison's work is alien gods, and The Matrix is AI. But the Comic Power Court is going to rule not guilty on the Wachowskis of plagiarism. It's possible that The Invisibles may have influenced The Matrix, but it didn't rip it off. Just like how Star Wars is influenced by Flash Gordon, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly westerns, Jack Kirby's The New Gods, and samurai movies from East Asia. I was just bringing all this up because it was relevant to let you know that The Matrix is very comic bookish. I mean, come on, seriously. The lead character of Neo turns into Superman during this franchise. I mean, super strength and flight, he's doing everything except for heat vision, basically. So yeah, I got grounds for talking about this at this channel. The Matrix has three pillar characters. Neo, played by Keanu Reeves, Trinity, played by Carrie-Anne Moss, and Morpheus, played by Lawrence Fishburne, who will not be returning for part 4. I'll talk about that in just a little bit. But I do want to talk about how Empire, Infinity War, and The Matrix have solidified themselves in pop culture history forever, and now are part of our everyday conversation. The biggest reveal in Empire is when Darth Vader tells Luke that he's his father. The biggest reveal in Infinity War is when Thor fails to stop Thanos by not going for the head. And the biggest reveal in The Matrix is when Morpheus offers the red pill or the blue pill to Neo, which has been overused as a metaphor for online conspiracy theories on the internet for over 20 years. The Matrix was a surprise hit when it came out in the spring of 1999. I remember going to the movies with a woman I was dating at the time, and we had to choose between Entrapment or The Matrix. Thankfully, we chose The Matrix. I guess that was a red pill or blue pill moment. As I mentioned before, I was completely blown away. You had a sci-fi action movie with some very deep political and philosophical undertones. And the special effects are amazing and still hold up over 20 years later. I mean, seriously, this is 1999. The effects in this are better than The Hulk, which came out in 2008. And everyone wanted to copy the 3D slow motion action scenes. I think Zack Snyder built his whole career copying this. Dude, seriously, everything does not have to be in slow motion to look cool. The Matrix Part 1 had a budget of $63 million, and it went on to make $465 million worldwide. Adjusted to inflation for 2021, this would be like making a movie for $103 million and making $763 million. So of course we get the Matrix trilogy, and Part 2 and Part 3 have been battered by critics and audiences alike, but they're actually getting better over time. Instead of being subtle with the philosophy, the Wachowskis decided to be more blunt with it. So if you were 12 years old when the first movie came out and you saw these sequels, you might be confused and the philosophical debates may get in the way of your action. But when you go back and look at it, there's some really cool stuff that happened in these sequels. For example, the freeway action scene. This is not CGI. They did not rent this out. They literally built this freeway from scratch just for this movie. Now, you can't tell me that's not cool. When people say go big or go home, this is what they mean by that. And the characters they added to the sequels are even more awesome. For example, the Keymaker, the Albino twins, the Merovingian, Hugo Weaving's Agent Smith character duplicating himself. And of course, the Architect. People either love this character or they hate him. They hate him because some people think he's too worthy, or they love him because he breaks down exactly how the Matrix works. They also did a very good job of showing us a very awesome looking Zion, which is the home of the last human resistance against the machine. Jada Pinkett's Niobe character had some very good moments, which is ironic that her husband Will Smith turned down the role of Neo in the first place. I think this worked out for the best because Will Smith as Neo would have been a completely different movie. And the franchise also had to deal with the real life death of some actors. The original actress that played the Oracle passed away, and they replaced her with this actress, and they had to write it into the script of why she looks different. And the singer and the actress Aaliyah had signed on to play Z of Zion, and she had actually filmed a few scenes already which can be found on the internet, but when she died tragically in a plane crash in the summer of 2001, they decided to recast the role, and they chose Nona Gaye. This actress is the real life daughter of legend Marvin Gaye. So since they had to do a last minute replacement, the role of Z was reduced considerably. So that recaps the greatness of the first 3 movies. So what do we expect to see for part 4? Because the war is supposed to be over and there's a truce, but hey, there can't be a World War II without World War I. And of course, Keanu Reeves is returning for his role as Neo, and what we can see from the trailer, it appears that his memory has been erased, and everything that happened in the first 3 movies, he thinks is a dream, and he thinks he's going crazy, so he goes to see a psychiatrist, which is played by Neil Patrick Harris. So of course there's going to be plot devices that's going to restart the war with the machines again, with all the goodies that we want. You gotta give it up for Keanu for his spectacular career, which is now going into its 4th decade, and he's the star of 3 major franchises: the time-traveling comedy Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, Hitman Saga, John Wick, and the sci-fi action of The Matrix. As mentioned before, Carrie-Anne Moss is returning as Trinity, so I'm glad to see this as well. I mean, seriously, she was even on Baywatch one time, and she has very good chemistry of Keanu Reeves. So that brings us to the curveball that Lawrence Fishburne will not be returning as Morpheus. Could it be that his schedule won't allow him to be in this movie because he's starring in the next Ant-Man movie? He's going to be playing Bill Foster, who will become Black Goliath. Or could it be something more nefarious, such as the fact that this movie is being made by Warner Brothers, which is the parent company of DC Comics, and he used to work for DC on the Superman movie and the Man of Steel, but he left to go join Marvel. So is it punishment for that? I'm not making any conclusion, I'm just bringing up the possibility. So the only thing we do know for sure is that he won't be returning, and according to Screen Rant, he was not asked to come back. The role of Morpheus is now going to Yahya Abdul-Mateen. He's best known for playing Black Manta in the Aquaman movie. So I will miss Lawrence Fishburne, but Yahya will be fine. Another disappointment is that Hugo Weaving will not be returning for his role as Agent Smith. But unlike the Morpheus character, they are not recasting this role. They're just going to leave him dead, or should I say deleted, because he's a computer program. He was asked to return, but there was a scheduling conflict. He just couldn't do it. There's nothing on IMDb that says that this character is going to be recast. So here we are, the 4th installment of The Matrix coming out for Christmas of 2021. And I don't know about you, but I'm excited to see another installment of this franchise. So go to the comics section and sound off. Are you as excited as I am about seeing a new Matrix installment? Do you think they can keep innovating in the special effects department like they have before? Are you disappointed that Morpheus is going to be recast? Are you disappointed that it appears that Agent Smith won't return? Be sure to speak up in the comment section and voice your opinion. You know the drill. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, give it a thumbs up, and share these videos on social media so others learn about the Comic Power channel. Until next time, this is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye.